Hello everyone, welcome to Thai Finance. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the long-term value. I'm going to talk about if Bitcoin is real wealth, it is a store of value, and why it's linked with gold and Isaac Newton. I'm going to compare Bitcoin, gold with other currencies, and we're going to ask ourselves if it's real money or is it something else. And as well, the long-term price action and prediction about Bitcoin. And if you think this is interesting, you should definitely subscribe and watch this video. So let's start with what is wealth. So energy and time brings knowledge, and wealth is energy and knowledge combined. As an effect, knowledge is translated into wealth and abundance. And what becomes scarce when everything becomes abundant? The answer is time. Time is money. All wealth is a product of knowledge. Progress consists in learning how you use it. And there is no economic growth unless knowledge occurs. These words are about economic growth. So what is a store of value? It's something that stores wealth and purchasing power through time. Our economic system brings problems with purchasing power and prices because there are huge bubbles and there is no longer a risk-free rate in the possession of fiat currencies. Yes, US dollars, British pound, and so on. Because our government confiscates our savings and our purchasing power through inflation. Hence, fiat currencies are no longer storing their value. And why I want to talk about Isaac Newton? Well, Newton spent a great amount of his life devoted to alchemy. He wrote more than 1 million words, and this shows how devoted he was to this practice. He tried to transform lead and mercury into gold, and the failure of his alchemy opened the possibility of the gold standard, and transformed and shaped the world order at that time. So he thought the gold standard was suitable for the economy because gold can be counterfeited and requires a considerable amount of energy and time to issue more gold. Just imagine a huge mining project, all the machinery that it's needed, the land, all the exploration, the time dedicated to the exploration, the labor force of hundreds of workers entering the mine, the sacrifice of time of those lives, logistics, transportation, refinery, sales and distribution, and finally some design of the coins or pieces of gold. Isaac Newton proposed the standard in 1717 when he was the president of the Royal Mint. He noticed that wealth, that we previously talked about, is the motor of knowledge, and he spent half of his life modeling with alchemy, and this yielded crucial knowledge for prices and commensurability and wealth preservation. All wealth is a product of knowledge, as I said. Gold is a vault of that wealth, a tradable matter, and somehow that knowledge is conserved in the form of money to bring more progress. He was in contact with many criminals, actually. One being the notorious counterfeiter, William Challoner. This in turn led to the reintroduction of the gold sovereign that was legal tender during the British Empire. So progress consists in learning how you use that wealth. And actually the gold standard permitted the British Empire to expand. They made thousands of railways, pushed the economy, finances, and brought the end of slavery and the rise of our modern society. And those were actually very peaceful times. And gold is God's money. There's no algorithms like Bitcoin. And why I wanted to bring that? because everything that wants to be money will be compared with the only existing money, which is gold and silver. President Nixon, took the dollar out of the gold standard in 1971, in August 15. And then Delano Roosevelt, confiscated gold, taking away stored value from citizens to push the dollar. The ones that are shaping our economy today don't want you to know about gold. But central banks are hoarding gold. Governments, investors, hedge funds, they know well. Since biblical times, it is well known that gold has transcended all the empires. It has never reached zero value, and it has preserved the value and the purchasing power over time. So here we can see all the fiat currencies drop against the price of gold. And history doesn't repeat itself, but for sure rhymes. And around here is the US dollar and the euro, our leading fiat currencies. But first of all, I want to talk about money. According to Aristotle and some more brilliant people, don't think about me, don't listen to me, listen to intelligent people. All these characteristics are basically describing money. And here on these columns, we have gold, silver, Bitcoin, and today fiat currency, like the one we're using, like US dollar, for example, or Mexican peso, Argentinian pesos, Bolivar, and so on. So it needs to be a medium of exchange. Okay, yeah. The three of them are a medium of exchange. A unit of account. They need to be portable. Bitcoins need a hardware to do that, a cold wallet or a hot wallet. They are divisible and interchangeable. Some of them have some costs. And if you're in a bank, of course, fiat currency, well, they will charge you. They will bite your wallet. They need to be durable, which today our dollar paper bills are not. They need to be a store of value, which our fiat currency is not a store of value anymore. They need to be scarce. And they need to be authentic, not man-made, because don't trust man. So Bitcoin is a little bit deterministic, which it means that it has a purpose. We don't know it yet. It's very new. Compared to gold and silver, it's just a blink of an eye. 10 years compared with the gold and silver history, it's just nothing. But there's something very interesting about Bitcoin. It's about security and empowering human beings in a nation-state environment. So I'm going to show you some forms of money used throughout history. The first one is cacao. The Aztec Empire and old empires used cacao beans as a form of money. It was interchangeable. It was not durable, but it was very useful. It has lots of vitamins. Obsidian. It's a volcanic stone used as money in Mexico, and it was very useful because they could make tools to kill animals. They could make knives out of it, or just use your imagination. Then we have salt, which is actually something very useful for the human body to work. You can put it on food. It's transportable, divisible. You can weight salt, and it's actually very, very useful. And compare the three of us, the least useful is just the paper. You can do not much with paper. You cannot eat it. You cannot build many tools. It's not durable. Well, it's very similar to cacao maybe, or salt. So why is Bitcoin compared to gold? Money should serve as a measuring stick for prices because it's a store of value, not a magic stick controlled by central banks. They have lots of power now to control all the economy in our daily lives, and these changes are very gradual that nobody noticed them. It's like water. Water is the most powerful thing because it's gradual. And the same with central banks. So price and commensurability set of two quantities that they have a reason, a rational number. Today you can compare a company with another company of technology or something like that, and it's very difficult to know the value of it. It's fun, but at the end, the ones we suffer are the ones that are paying the price of confiscation. So why Bitcoin is famous? Well, Bitcoin's success is tied to the US dollars. Monetary systems are shaped by trust and consensus, nothing else. And of course, Bitcoin is so tied to the US dollar that more to its failures and to its fluctuations, and of course, the debasement. I don't see many Bitcoin sellers talk much about the value of Bitcoin, that they should actually talk. They talk most about its comparison to the US dollar, which I think it's a good selling point, but at the end there's some value that we just don't know it yet. It's too new to know that. Of course, no one adjusts the money supply. It's just programmed to do that. And of course the timing is perfect. The central banks printing money and the governments are just with so much debt. And I don't know if Bitcoin would exist if the US dollar is not dying. And of course, it's just always sold. The selling point is just the dollar, you know? I want to talk about the proof of work. As I remember the mining example, well, the proof of work of Bitcoin is tied to the time and the exponential advance of technology, which is cycles per second. This means that servers and hardware are expanding, and there's a lot of infrastructure for the Bitcoin to be a decentralized tool and to work and be indestructible, let's say. So blockchain contains hashes of all previous transactions. And also, it's tied to time. So there's also the characteristic that there's an ease of international transactions without intermediaries. You don't need a bank to do that. You are the owner and you are being empowered by that technology and not by telling someone that you're going to pay something. So technology is revolutionary and the internet is rebellious. And technology will be, of course, ahead of nation states and central banks. And it's very convenient just to do a transaction and you don't have to tell anyone about that. It gives you the liberty and empowers you to hold something of value and transfer it internationally where there is oppression and there is something that will really save you from something. It empowers the user and it's based on security and simplicity. So there's a ground state for trust. As I told you before, all monetary systems are shaped by trust and consensus. And of course, it's encrypted, deterministic, and decentralized, protected by math. I bet you to decrypt something. And this is really difficult. So technology is empowering us. Every time we see a Bitcoin chart is something like this. Very volatile, and of course you have to be careful. You can speculate a lot, but we don't know if it's just something very, very new that we don't know how to use it or what's going to be the purpose. For sure, the scalability is gaining traction, but at the end, we don't know that. But for sure, there is a technological revolution that we need to be very aware of. Here's another chart, which is a stock-to-flow model. It's very similar with other commodities like gold and silver to measure the stock-to-flow ratio. Every 210,000 blocks, the reward for mining new blocks is halved, meaning miners receive 50% fewer bitcoins for verifying transactions every 4 years. And the stock-to-flow ratios are used to evaluate the current stock of a commodity, a total amount of currently available, against the flow of new production which is the amount mined that specific year. So we can see that there's like a huge gains ahead, of course. But the thing is that it's very volatile. So I suggest you to do your own research and put the money you're basically predisposed to risk. But let's say that it's very interesting, the Bitcoin. Something is happening. There is a technological revolution, and of course, this is a very powerful tool that it's about security and the individual, not about the nation state. So our final thoughts, it's gold and silver and Bitcoin are the Achilles heel of the nation state paradigm. The world has changed. And by transferring your fake money, which is the corrupt paper currency, into real honest money like gold and silver and probably Bitcoin, a point will be reached that will manage to destroy their control over money and debt. And the time is the coin of your life. Be careful. Let other people spend it for you. I hope you subscribe to the channel and enjoy this video. Share it. Comment below what do you think about this. But of course, this is very new technology that we all must be aware of. And maybe in the future, you will stay within what is happening in the new world order. Thank you very much.